Okay, this is the second part of the review. In problem number 7, they're asking you to graph -2 cosine of x. As you know, cosine graph starts at 0, 1. Then it goes to 0, then is -1, then is 0, and then is 1. So it goes like that. So for -2 cosine, that means that it's going to be a reflection and it's stretched by 2. So instead of starting at 0, 1, it's going to start at 0, -2. It goes up to 0, then goes up to 2, down to 0, and then to -2. On the negative side, it goes to 0, up to 2, 0, and -2 on the 2 pi. And just make sure you do parabolas. And it continues going in both directions. So put the arrow going in that direction. For number 8, it has an amplitude of 1/2. Sine starts at 0. So it should go to 1/2. Instead of 1, it goes to 1/2. Then 0, -1/2, 0. On the negative side, it's -1/2, 0, 1/2, and 0. And then just do parabolas. And that's it. For the maximum and the minimum, the formula is, for the minimum is d minus absolute value of a. For the maximum is d plus the absolute value of a. Since you don't have any d, it's just negative absolute value of -6. And that would be -6. So -6 is the minimum. And the maximum is just absolute value of -6, which is 6. So minimum, maximum. The amplitude, in number 10, you need to get the equation of the sine curve with the given information. Well, since it has amplitude of 5, and you're going to have 5, and then it's sine. I need to know what b is. I know that the period is pi over 2 and the phase shift is 4 pi. So I'm going to use the formula b equals negative small b over c, and the formula for the period, which is p equals 2 pi over b. First, I'm going to use the formula p equals 2 pi over b. Since the period is pi over 2, I'm going to put pi over 2 equals 2 pi over b. And then you just cross multiply. So it's pi b equals 4 pi. When you divide by pi, because you're looking for b equals to 4, because the pi's cancel out. So this is 4x, and it has a phase shift of 4 pi. So since I know that b is -4, and the phase shift is 4 pi, I'm going to substitute the b for 4 pi. So 4 pi equals negative, which comes from the formula, b that is 4 over c. When you cross multiply, you're going to have 4 pi c equals -4. Then divide by 4 pi. C equals -1 over pi, because the 4's cancel out. So I put that on as C, so it's -1 over pi. And that would be in parentheses. And that's the equation. For number 11, the amplitude is 4. Now for number 11, the amplitude is 4. So it would be f of x equals 4 sine. Something that you need to make sure you put, I'm sorry, I'm under the weather over here, but don't forget to put the f of x because this is supposed to be an equation. So going back to 11, it's 4 sine, and I need to find out what b and c is. So since the period is pi, the period is pi over 6, and the formula is 2 pi over b. When you cross multiply, that's pi b equals 12 pi, then divided by pi, b is equal to 12. Then you substitute that into the phase shift formula, and since the phase shift is 3 equals negative b, so it's negative 12 over c. Then you cross multiply, this is 3c equals negative 12 divided by 3, c equals negative 4. So b is 12, c is negative 4. So the equation would be 12x minus 4. And that's the equation. And don't worry about those 3 lines, it's just one equation. Now number 12, it says find the amplitude. The amplitude is absolute value of negative 5. So that would be 5. The period is 2 pi divided by the b. The b is 2. So that would be pi. The phase shift is negative c. So it's negative pi divided by the b, which is 2. The maximum, there's no d here, so it's plus 0. So it's 0 minus a, the absolute value of negative 5. So that's negative 5. So that's the minimum. So the maximum, so let me put here minimum. So the maximum would be 0 plus the absolute value of negative 5, which is 5. So the maximum is at 5. For number 13, the amplitude is absolute value of negative 3, which is 3. The period is 2 pi divided by b, and b is 5. So that's the period. The phase shift, when you get the phase shift, it's better to let the inside of the parentheses equal to 0. So you're going to have 5x equals pi over 3, because when you move it to the right, it becomes positive. And when you get rid of the 5, you can get rid of by multiplying by the reciprocal of that. And that way, this is a little easier to do it like that. So it's pi over 15. So the phase shift is pi over 15. The maximum, well, is the d, which is negative 4, plus absolute value of negative 3. And that would be negative 1. And the minimum is negative 4 minus the absolute value of negative 3. So that's negative 4 minus 3, which is negative 7. Number 14, give the equation of the graph. All you have to do here is, first of all, get the half. That's your d. So d is equal to 0. Then identify one complete period. Okay? I'm going to try to get the easiest one, which is this right here. So this is cosine and it's negative. So the equation would be, let me write it over here on the bottom. Y equals negative 2 cosine. Now the period goes from 0 to 4 pi. So the formula for the period is pi equals 2 pi over b. Since I know that the period, to get one complete graph, it takes 4 pi, you just cross multiply. So it's 4 pi b equals 2 pi divided by 4 pi. So b equals pi's cancel out, and that's 1/2. Some of you might be able to get that because, without doing the work, because you know that the reciprocal is 2 times 2 pi gives you the 4 pi. So that's just another way of getting that. But this is the equation. For number 15, again, make sure you know where the half of the graph is, and that is the D, so D equals 3. Then identify one complete period. This would be sine, so it would be y equals. The amplitude is 1. From that half point up is 1 unit and down is 1 unit. So it's just amplitude is 1, and this is sine. Now it takes from 0 to 2 pi. So b is just 1 because it's 2 pi. So sine of x and then plus 3. And that's the equation for number 15. And now for number 16, the graph is 4/3 sine. 4/3 is 1 and 1/3. So the first point is 0. The amplitude is 1 1/3. So a little bit above 1. 0, a little bit below 1, and then it's 0. Going to the left side, a little bit below 1, goes to 0, a little bit above 1, and then it's 0. And then just make sure you get parabolas. And that's the graph. For number 17, see, you take care of the D first. So draw that imaginary new x-axis at 1. Then you want to change your x marks, multiply by the reciprocal of 1/2 to multiply every x by 2. Let me just make this a little bigger. So it's by 2. So this would be 2. This would be 4, negative 2x, and negative 4 pi. Not x, but pi, I'm sorry. And then this is cosine. So instead of starting at 0, 0, 1, because cosine starts at 0, 1, it has to be 0, negative 2, so it's 1, 2. So I'm going to start down here. So it starts at 0, 2 units down, goes to 0, 0 is that new line, goes up to 2, comes down to 0 line, and then negative 2. To the left side, goes up to 0, 2 units up, and down to 0, and then 2 units down. And then just connect those points, trying to making them parabolas. And that would be the graph. Okay? I hope this helps. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please make sure you study.